Okay, this next project for you guys is going to be the first raster project for this term. We're going to use a browser-based software, and this will only work on a desktop computer, not a phone or a tablet or something like that, but and it'll work in any browser so far as I've seen. And it's called Pixlr Express. It's an Autodesk product. It's pretty cool, and I really just want for this project to do a class walkthrough to see how it works. But from everything I've seen so far, it works very similarly to Photoshop. So, but what you're going to do thematically with this project is you're going to make a pool as a class of images, but you need to add 4 images to that pool. 1 image of a toy, 1 image of an animal, 1 image of a vehicle, and 1 image of your choice. And you can just commonly find these images, but you need to be very aware of the image size. You don't want to contribute low resolution images. So we're going to do a little work through about that. Yeah, let's first get I'm just going to do 3 images for the sake of this demo being a little short. So the first thing I'm going to find is a toy. I'm just using a Google image search. I'm most familiar with it. You can use another one if you like, but do be aware of the image size. I suggest at least doing an image at least 1,000 pixels tall or wide, one way or another. You know, when you get like this is 500 by 500. You know, once you start getting lower than that, you start to see a lot of the resolution and pixelation and stuff like that, of course. But these also are good because they have this white background. That's going to be very easy to do a selection and clear that background. But I'll choose an image without a background like that too to show you the technique we used to get rid of the background too. I'm going to go with this rocking horse toy here, and I'm just going to right click on it, and I'm going to save this image just to my desktop. You could also do this directly to your thumb drive. Right. I'm just going to put that in there. Okay, and next I want to get an animal. And like I said, I want to choose an image this time that actually has a not so easy background around it. So let's go with Mr. Ducky here. And I'm going to right click again and save picture as. Okay, and then lastly, just again for the sake of the day, I'm just going to only do 3. This one will be fast, so I'll just use it. Let's see if it clears up. It did not. Even though it's a 1600 resolution image, notice the low quality. So I'm not going to use that, and I don't want you guys to contribute let's see if I look at it, if it looks any better. It does not. There's the actual version of it. But if I click on this, they're going to want me to pay for something. So I'm not going to use that one. There's a nice tractor. Nope, too low in quality. But just for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to use this 380 by 336 graphic just so you can see the difference in the resolution of these images. So I'm going to save that out. And so now I've got those 3 images in my desktop folder. I'm actually going to go to my software application now. To get to Pixlr Editor, you just can keyword search it, Pixlr Editor, and you go directly into the software interface, and it's so cool. So what I want to do, I could either create a brand new image or I can open one of my first images. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to open one of my images on my desktop. And let's go with that one. Okay, so I've got that image open, and really this looks very much, I mean, the icons are different than Photoshop icons, but still you got a lot of the same things. Again, the primary thing with this software is going to be the layers, because the layers are actually going to allow us to create our composite. You know, basically, to me, raster environments are where you can composite images. take multiple images and combine them. So right now this image is locked. Notice that little lock right there, this background. So I want to change that. I'm going to double click on that, and this becomes a layer. That's very important. That means I now can transform this image. If I wanted to transform this image that's on this layer, the hotkey to do that is Control-T. Whoa. That bounced over. I may have to do that manually because I just lost. There it is. Yeah, that didn't work. So let's try adjustment or edit. Edit free transform. I have no idea what that did. It's some other browser hotkey setting made that happen within the browser instead of in the software. You may want to try Firefox. You may be able to command and control your hotkeys in Firefox. I'm not so sure I can in Internet Explorer right now, but I can do it manually here by going to Edit, Free Transform, and that puts my bounding box around my object, and then and let's see if the Shift Lock works. Shift Lock does work, and what that means is if I just grab it without holding down Shift, my image can get askew. And so to make it not be go askew and to keep it proportionate, hold down Shift and then do from the diagonal corner, and that'll get that. So I'm going to shrink that one a little bit, hit Enter. That applies a transformation, and now I want to try to get rid of the white space around it. Same old tool is the wand tool, and this tool has some tolerance. That means you can adjust how much detail it gets in terms of these pixels. So do be aware you can use that to change its settings a little bit. But that looks pretty good as it is right now. Let's see if I can zoom in. Where's my zoom? Use the what? The what? Oh, scroll button. No. Oh! Okay, thanks. But that looks pretty good. You know, it is going to leave a little bit of white pixels around it. Let's see if I can adjust the that live. I don't know that I can, but sometimes you have a select command in Photoshop that, you know, an active selection that allows you to like either shrink it or expand it. I don't see that right now. So I'm just going to go with it as is. Use my scroll button and back that up. And I want to delete what is selected there. Just for future reference also, you can also, I think, reverse your selection. Yeah, there's an invert selection right there. That's real useful sometimes. And I'll demonstrate what you can do with that. If I invert my selection, and let's try to copy what I have copied now. I'm not going to try a hotkey right now. I'm just going to do it via my command bar here. So I'm going to copy what I have selected, and then let's see what happens when I paste. And I turn the visibility of that one off. There's a little bit of stuff left over in here. Sometimes it's helpful to have a colored background so you can see if there are any little bits left over and stuff like that, because ultimately there are going to be. But that's the basic of doing that right there. Let me show you how to bring in another image. Probably, let's see if I can copy and paste one in. So I'm going to go to my desktop. And see if I can bring this duck in just from a copy and paste. And I like OrphanView. It works on PCs. On a Mac, you would be using your image viewer. It also will allow you to, you know, do pretty much the same functions. But from right here, what I'm going to do in OrphanView is Control-A to select all and Control-C to copy, and see if it'll paste into this active document. I'm not positive it will. Okay. There it is. Okay, so I'm back in the environment now. Let's just make a new blank layer. That layer is selected. I'm going to try Control V. And nothing. So that didn't work. Let me try selecting another. Okay, so the way I've got to get this in here is to actually open a new image. Let's see, layer. Never mind. You can do it through layer, open images layer. That's going to let me browse in my folder. So so let's bring in the duck. That's the duck. Anyway, that image is pretty big. So I'm going to scroll as far back as I can because I need to shrink that. And then I'm going to go to Edit and do my free transform. And Control T should work, but again, I'm not going to mess with it right now. And let's see if this will allow me to shrink this object. And I'm going to hold down Shift. And let's reposition it too. Yeah, that works pretty well. And this time, instead of cleaning this one up, and I'm going to hit Enter to apply my transformation. And this time, instead of cleaning it up with my magic wand tool, I'm going to use my eraser. But I'm going to set my eraser to, first, a hard edge to do a hard cleanup of it. Increase the diameter of that tool there. Whoa, that's too big. That's okay. And just get rid of the first bits of it. But to get a good composite of something like that, you have to switch to an Airbrush Edge, and that lets you really, and again, just for the sake of this demo, I'm not going to go all the way into this, but I am going to change my brush style and do a little bit of it. Let's see how big that is, and probably it needs to be about that big. And you can adjust the hardness of it, sort of just like an airbrush. How much pressure is going to come out of it is going to, affect, how quickly you get rid of the pixels. So I'm going to work with it just like that. And that soft edge looks more realistic. It really does. And, you just do have to be careful with it. Let's see if I do it in little increments. What Control Z is going to get me. Nothing. Let's see. But you do have undos. For whatever reason, again, my hotkeys aren't working. So I can back that up a little bit by doing undo incrementally. So that can be a way that you can work on this too. Ooh, and I'm doing a horrible job here. It's better to really zoom in and do it up close. But at any rate, before this demo runs out of time, let me just go ahead and show you some of the other things you do. Once you do have your layers active, you can actually do layer effects under layer styles. You can do just a couple of things, not as many things as you'd be able to do in Photoshop. But everything in a layer would be affected by these effects. Outer glow. You can choose the color that's going to make. You can bevel the objects that may be in a layer. This can also be text elements. You can put an inner shadow, a drop shadow, so some pretty cool stuff. You can also change the direction of those effects, pretty much just like you could in Photoshop. And those effects you can adjust them. You can always go back and either turn them off, change them a little bit. But the last thing I want to show you for this demo is to also the file types that you can save this as. The first couple of file types are image file types, which are just flat images. But I do want you to save this as a working file. A PXD is a file type that you're going to be able to reopen and continue working on these projects. But that's it for now. Just do read through the project instructions if you have any other questions.